Final presentation of this panel. This is a presentation with a lot of names attached. It is, we have Helen Yau Hing LAM presenting, and also Tung THUNG, some Yee LAU, and Zixuan WANG also contributing to this. But we have Helen presenting the paradox of profit, structural constraints on game design, and the need for systemic replayability in the Gacha genre. So if we would just get that up. And I believe all of these scholars are from City University, Hong Kong, here at the School of Creative Media. Excellent.
So hello, we are a team from the School of Creative Media, and today we will be talking about the structural constraints of Gacha genre, and we will be using Genshin Impact as a case study. So Gacha genres are highly viral, especially on mobile platforms, and Genshin Impact is probably one of the most globally recognized examples. And they are well known for their round character designs and appealing game visuals. So players show obsessions with their favorite characters and their favorite maps, and it always drives engagement. However, like Genshin makes a huge profit with the character monetization model, there's also a problem leads from this kind of model. For example, because the need to sell characters, it requires a very constant linear content. So basically, the contents usually show up with new characters or characters, and they are usually disposable. Once the players finish exploring the map or the event and they take all the rewards, it results a high churn when the contents run out, and because also this leads to a problem of lack of meaningful endgame, where there is no sustainable goal for players to continue their game when they meet the emptiness of content. And we understand we cannot change the core system without devaluating the player's investment. Therefore, we oppose an alternative way to shift the genre from consumable narrative to a systematic replayability. So monetization lock-in is quite a common issue in Gacha games because it is the easiest way to attract players and to make profit quickly. And therefore, the Gacha currency becomes a very important thing in these games. And same for Genshin Impact, where the Primo Gems, the Gacha currency, become very dominant in the game. It is the ultimate goal for players to play, and because Primo Gems are the things to obtain a character. However, it leads to the issue where players view gameplay as labor to get currency. And most of the time, players have to grind very hard for minimal rewards. For example, you spend 10 minutes to fight a monster, and you only get like 5 Primo Gems. And we summarize it as the following, where this prioritizes the financial obligation over player engagement. And grinding for Primo Gem creates a trap, which is an endless cycle. For example, players see their favorite characters or weapons, and they either pay in the game or they start grinding. And during the grinding, they try to speed run everything, and then they stop the gameplay for the pulling of banner. And then if you're lucky, you get the character. However, if you're unlucky like me, you usually lose the 50-50. And for both situations, players are tired. However, getting a character they want or a weapon they want, it actually excites the player so they can continue grind for the weapon or another character, or they want to spend time with the character online. However, players like me will feel very exhausted and frustrated. They will either try to continue to grind if there are leftover resources, or they try to leave the game because of the frustration and they don't want to destroy their device due to the anger. However, these kind of players will still return to the game to get the character they want. And this loop goes on and on forever. And over time, players face the issue of fatigue, burn out and loses the sense of fun. And we propose our first solution to tackle this problem by expanding the horizontal replayability and reward diversification by shifting the monetary rewards to a more cultural and experiential rewards. For example, by adding wearable cosmetics or adding a kind of interactive functions to instruments. And the design goal is to let players make the in-game time feel meaningful instead of like a resource farming and to just putting money spent on the banner. For example, in the game, there are actually quite a lot of wearables appearing in the story quest. However, they are not extended as a type of tool after the story quest. And we believe that by expanding them into tools helps the players to have another possibility when they explore in the open world, and it also boosts the exploration for players. And besides that, we noticed that Genshin has a lot of instruments, but they only play music or rhythms, which are rather simple functions. And we believe if instruments can be considered to interact with creatures, like the vintage lyre in Sumeru, it actually encouraged players to explore with this instrument and express their creativity with a tool that can lead to a lot of unknowns. And besides that, currently the endgame faces a resource gating problem. It's focusing so much on stat checking. And whether your success depends on the thickness of your wallet and how much effort you spend on grinding your artifacts. It actually results in a very low agency for players. You can see that a C0 character and the C6 character have a drastic difference on their damage dealt. And if this kind of situation continues, Genshin might meet the situation of Honkai Star Rail, where because the expansion of statistics are so quickly, and how the endgame changed the rules for the new characters actually becomes a must-have character, and players are actually recommended to restart a new account because they miss so much content. And we think that Genshin can consider adding like mechanic-based gameplay, like another game from MiHoYo, Zenless Zone Zero, where they dodge, parrying, and precision are like the key factor of this game. And even characters with very weak statistics can pass a very difficult level if the players has very good mastering skills. And by presenting mechanics like a global mechanic instead of specific buffs, it helps player to succeed with mastery instead of like stucking in the play to win feeling. So the current state is that financial investment is probably the only way to achieve superior play experience, and it helps player to achieve it with high efficiency, while player mastery skills is like a bonus for this only way to win. However, if there is a kind of agency mechanic, both financial investment and player mastery can achieve superior player experience. And it is like a double enhancement for both type of players. And the last issue from this kind of linear content is that on the character obsolescence and the ecosystem. Because currently, I believe the old characters fade with relevance in a linear story. So characters have to rerun because they can appear in the recent story quest. And if the character does not have any opportunity to appear recently, they might face a very long time for no reruns. Like for example, in the picture, Ganyu has almost 1,000 days of no reruns because she was unable to exist in any recent events. And also that the current collapse of Genshin Impact is rather superficial. Like, I believe the company is trying to let Genshin Impact players guide Genshin Impact players to their other games instead of asking players from other games to join Genshin Impact. And we propose our first solution, which is to have a systematic cross-game integration by proposing that collaboration should be systematic but not aesthetic. We believe that a shared mechanics or storylines that require playing both to understand the full lore can help to attract more players to join the IP under Genshin Impact. So it turns a linear story flow into a cyclical ecosystem with HoYoverse as a platform. And the company also, besides Genshin Impact, the company is also famous for their Honkai IP, where they have three games, and these games share similar lores and characters, and it attracts cross-game players, especially for Honkai Star Rail and Honkai Third. And Genshin Impact is technically not really under the Honkai IP. We believe that Genshin can expand their IP by adding more games with the same lore, or adding characters with lores and characters under the same lore within games, and also increase collaboration with Genshin IP. And to our conclusion, we believe that Genshin has to break through the Primogem loop with cultural rewards, shift from stat check to skill check, and integrate the ecosystem to prevent obsolescence so they can achieve true longevity with designing a system, but instead of just stories. They can achieve a true longevity with a good system and good stories. And this is the end of our presentation. Feel free to ask questions. I will try my best to answer.
Excellent work. Do we have any questions? We have a few. Let's go in the middle there. There's a lot. Is there any on this side as well, just so I'm not missing? All right, there's at least one. All right.
So, hi, thank you for your interesting presentation, because me, myself, is a formerly game user researcher in the industry. So it's just a little bit short supplementary, like my idea on this research. So you mentioned that financial investments or dual play mechanism design may be some solution for the paradox of the replayability faced by Genshin Impact. And actually, from my perspective, maybe appropriate event design may also help solve this problem. So for example, game map re-explore event of Economia was launched in the next version to the version when Economia was launched. So basically, the event designer, they place new chest in the Economia map, and they prompt the players to re-explore this map and gather those new chests. And in this kind of events, they will get the gems and other rewards. So maybe this is another way to solve this problem from the game mechanism design itself.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
That's just a short supplementary information.
Yes, I agree with your opinion. Yeah. But I think Genshin Impact recently, they didn't try to recreate this kind of designs. I'm not sure why. I think maybe they want to focus more on the new contents rather than reusing the rewards.
Got Kathy next.
Yep. Thank you for your presentation. I really enjoyed it. I stopped playing Genshin quite a while ago because it was my first gacha game, and it was fun when I didn't take it seriously, but then I took it seriously and it turned into work, and then that's when I really quickly stopped. So my experience kind of told me, well, Genshin is about labor. It's not really about play. That was my impression, and I like that you have really concrete ideas on how to improve the game. But then I wondered, how much is Genshin Impact even interested in making it more playable? I think your point is to try to mask that labor aspect of the game. And I think there's an interesting point to be made about how play in Genshin Impact is not play in a fun sense, but it's play in a labor sense. And maybe that is the whole point about Genshin. So maybe more like how seriously do you think they even consider improving the game in that sense?
I think they are trying to improve because I know that the company, they didn't implement it in Genshin Impact, but they tried to like implement very good mechanics from maybe Honkai, Sandy Zone Zero to Honkai Star Rail. For example, like the skip button. So I believe that whole universe really wants to improve, and maybe one day they will try to find the best time to implement the good mechanics back to Genshin Impact.
I hope so. It feels like Genshin is just kind of forgotten. But yeah. Okay. Thank you.
All right, excellent. Can I just get a quick show of hands of who has questions as well still? We've got one there. Tianyi, Callum. All right. Yeah, if you want to go.
I'll be very quick. So my question is, to simply put, how significant do you think a consistent long story with depth and understanding of the story world is how important it is, and how, do players care about it, given the context is that we now have like data set consumption, as Azuma Hiroki suggested. So I'm asking, how do you measure the depth, the intensity of a story world building, and how significant do you think it is?
I think it's quite important in Genshin Impact because they really want the players to read through the story quest, and usually it links a lot with the character designs and how they, like it really gives thickness to characters, and it helps players to build relationship between themselves and the world map. So I believe that like currently the story design and the narration is quite important for Genshin Impact. I hope it answered your question.
Excellent. We'll go Tianyi next, and then we'll get that one over to Callum. I think we'll have time. We've got plenty of time. Okay. So Tianyi.
Yeah, interesting presentation. I got all excited when people talk about monetization. So I guess my problem is that when you talk about, so you suggest Genshin Impact to adopt the Honkai kind of strategy to expand their IP. Does that like affect the uniqueness of Genshin? Do they really want to mimic the mechanism or the approach for Genshin? Like learning from like Honkai Impact, like how do you balance this?
Do you mean like may you?
Like when you suggest Genshin Impact should expand their IP,
yes.
Does that like are you suggesting Genshin took the similar path as Honkai Star Rail or the Honkai series did? If you suggest that, does that make Genshin less unique compared to the Honkai?
I don't really think so because I know that the company is trying to run Genshin Impact as a very independent IP. So they really want to expand the diverseness of the Genshin Impact. I think they will, like my suggestion is that they can follow what they are already successful for, but personally, I don't think it will really decrease the uniqueness of Genshin Impact because I believe Genshin Impact has something else more than Honkai series. Yes.
Okay, cool.
Excellent. Thank you. Final question over with Callum.
It helps if you turn the microphone on. Yeah, that was a really cool talk. It's really great to see like proactive game design being presented in an academic sense. So in your like design vision for your like perfect version of Genshin, these like I'm going to use the term, these like intrinsic motivation based mechanics, do you think there's a tension between them and the like monetization system? Is like Hoyoverse not, it kind of incentivized not to do this because it's something that they can't sell to players, right? Is there a tension with the monetization there?
I think it is like additional choice based on monetization because currently I think the game is not giving a lot of agency to players. However, by adding these mechanics, players have another choice than being forced to achieve monetization. Yes.
Excellent, thank you. That's pretty much at time, so we'll give one last round of applause for everybody.